Good morning, guys. Today we are going to discuss about Java 14 features, in which majorly on helpful null pointer exception. As everyone know, Java 14 is aligned to release on 2020 March 17. As everyone know, null pointer exception is a runtime exception. It will occur when you try to access on any null variable, any of the attributes or any of the methods you can call at a null variable. That will be fine if there is any null pointer exceptions come at the time of development phase, and it will be easy to identify based on the number, and then if it is not based on the line number showing in the exception, or you can put the debug point and then get to know. But when it happens in the production and you are trying to access a variable from the nested object calls, in that case it will be very hard to identify, though the line number will be shown, but it will be very hard to find exactly on which nested variable access null pointer exception came. So in Java 14 they have introduced and then enhanced that feature to the developer to understand where exactly the exception raised in the nested call. So let me go through a few examples on the same. If you see, I already have a set of domain classes for our example. User, under which name, address, gender. Gender is gender type. Have enum. Employee is also an user and extends user, and then respective employee ID. At the same time, customer extends user and customer ID. And if you see address is having has a relationship under user have address. If you go to the address and house number, street, city, state, and country is suppose there is a requirement to uh, print or use get the country from user object. Let's take an example. I'm going to create one method for the same. Public static address dot country get country from user object. Okay, let me import it. So here, as you know, return user dot get address get country. So let me create user object. As I mentioned, customer is also a user, and I'm trying to create a customer object and then casting it to user. And here we are populating only customer ID. Okay. Then now our user object is ready, and let me try to get the country of that user by using our method by passing the user. And let me try to print in this case what the country from which country the user is belongs to. Okay, and I'm going to print the country. Let me run this, how it will work. Yeah, this is as expected because we did not assign any address details for this customer. Only we have attached customer ID, and but in the country line number 16 we are trying to access user get address and get country. If you observe here we are doing the nested object access. From user we are trying to fetch the address, and from address again we are trying to fetch the country. As because we did not attach any address variable or address details for the customer, and it is trying to throw an exception. We know here because we are open the code and then we are in front of the code. And also that will be fine. If suppose this code will deploy in production, and though the line number 16 is saying that it is the line which is throwing null pointer exception, but you can't understand until unless you do the debug from which portion of the access it throws null pointer exception, either from user at get address or get country, or user itself is null. So if you want to understand this, in the detailed way of printing exception in your exception log, in Java 14, they introduced a concept of adding a VM argument. It's called, let me attach that and then we can go through that. Show code details in exception message. If you attach this VM option for your jar at the time of running and then try to execute it, just remember what exactly it has thrown before attaching that VM argument. It just mentioned that line number 16, it thrown the exception, but it did not mention like either it is user object null or get address is null. So on which portion of accessing null pointer exception raised. Now after attaching that, I am trying to execute the same program and observe the output. If you see here, null pointer exception cannot invoke get country because the return value of get address is null. Mean to say, it is not the problem with the user, it's the problem with get address. So as because with the detailed exception message, we are able to understand is the problem with the get address, not with the user. So this is how the helpful null pointer exception feature has implemented in Java 14 for developer easy understanding and easy debug issues in the production by just looking at the logs in the detailed explanation exception messages. This will be attached in the exception message and also it will be printed into the log if you based on the way of handling exceptions. I hope you understand. Thank you so much.